Hi, everybody. I'm tracking Tropical Storm Philippe and the impacts to the United States that have grown and unfortunately looks like a scary situation for Maine as we go into this big weekend. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justus. If you enjoy weather updates, I'm here for you. I provide early warnings of severe weather, a reliable forecast you can count on, and a direct approach you won't find anywhere else. And in this case, we're tracking Philippe, a storm that just frankly won't go away. It's been one of those situations where it's in the similar spot to what it was this same time last week and almost an identical strength. That has provided for, unfortunately, big time flooding for the Caribbean islands stretching up toward Puerto Rico. And here it is. It's a sloppy, messy system, but it is beginning to pull toward the north as the steering currents begin to pull this up and finally move it on out. We've got great imagery here from Tomerberg. This in a very warm spot of the ocean. It looks like Bermuda is now going to be favored to see at least some strong winds and rain as that tropical storm passes nearby. Now, as it moves into cooler waters here on the track, it is going to be changing from a tropical system to an extratropical system, and that's going to allow it to keep its integrity, allow it to keep its strength as far as winds. It's just not going to be a warm core system anymore. It's going to be a cold core. Impacts are still going to be the same. We've got a lot of wind and a lot of rain heading toward Maine. And check this out. I mean, this system is one that just has defied all odds. This is the trend. Now, earlier last week, as this thing was kind of meandering around, the X's are where this thing has been. It just meandered around, dove south, kind of hung out here for a few days. Now it's moving north. The trend was for it to go out well east of Bermuda. Well, as days went on, it kind of curved a little bit more to just east of Bermuda. Now it's going to go west of Bermuda, and instead of pulling away, the stronger this high is building in and the more time that has passed, it's allowed this system to go closer to the United States, where it's going to make landfall right there on the line into Maine. Let's look at those impacts, because this system has just slowly chugged and moved around here, that it's going to eventually get picked up here and move toward the east. Great indication here of our spaghetti models and where it's going to make landfall. Looks like somewhere near Maine, especially eastern Maine, is going to have the strongest wind and rain, and not great timing here, especially following the impacts that we had from the beach erosion and Lee. We're going to see more impacts here. Apple farmers seeing apples knocked off the trees in the northeast. And here we are at peak tourist season with the leaves, and we have a tropical or subtropical system coming in. Our computer models in pretty great agreement here with Maine taking a direct hit from this post-tropical system. Now remember, even though it's not a named tropical system at that point, it's still packing winds that are 60 or 70 miles per hour, and it comes with the rain and the same impacts that a storm would have, almost similar to a nor'easter versus a tropical system. It's that time of the year. But here we are, the GFS mean somewhere around the line there, and then the majority of it right there in East Maine taking a more direct hit. So let's look at those impacts going into the weekend. As the rain, the wind begins to ramp up, it's a fast-moving system. Notice how it almost resembles more of a nor'easter. You got this kind of hook in here. You don't have a real big amount of rain wrapping around it, but a lot of rain heading in from Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine as we go into the weekend here, and especially eastern Maine, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, Saturday night, and then it's gone by Sunday, so waking up to a better forecast. But then comes the colder air where some snow could break out in the upstate of New York, and some of that snow could stretch into parts of Vermont or New Hampshire, but for the most part it's going to stay up toward Canada. And finally, the winds and the rain begin to move on out. How about those winds? Let's look at peak wind gusts. We're talking 50 plus miles per hour here along the eastern parts of Maine. Coastal Maine could have 60, 70 mile per hour wind gust, and that's the problem with the beach erosion. We're going to have that be another impact following Lee's impacts. How about rainfall totals? Well, it's going to be very wet all across upstate New York as we move throughout the next 3 days. 2-3 inches of rain. Same story for eastern Maine as you take more of a direct approach from Philippe as it begins to move toward the north. 2 to 4 inches there, especially along that path. So buckle up, Maine. It's going to be a rough couple of days here as this tropical system moves inland. Subtropical, post-tropical, whatever it is, the impacts are the same. It's going to bring a lot of wind, a lot of rain at a time you don't want to see it, especially because those leaves are so pretty right now, and they're going to be really ripped from those trees as this wind and rain comes on through. So we'll get past it. Sunday's going to look much better if your travels are taking you up there. You'll still find plenty of color, but know that Saturday's going to be a pretty rough day when it comes to wind and rain.